This video was made thanks to this awesome request. Thank you for the title suggestion, and happy watching.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Quirkless. If you're a fan of My Hero Academia, especially awesome fanfiction stories all about Deku, you're definitely in the right place. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow anime fans, and subscribe so you never miss a new upload. Also, if you have an awesome idea or title for the next fanfiction video, drop it in the comment below. I'd love to read your suggestions. And hey, if you want to support the channel even more and keep me extra motivated to create awesome content, consider joining our channel membership. By becoming a member, you'll unlock cool perks like exclusive loyalty badges and custom stickers you can use in the comments. If you've already joined, thank you so much. Your support truly means the world to me and helps keep this channel going. Alright, let's get right into the story.
Rain softly fell over the city. Tap, tap. Small droplets rolled down the windows of the Midoriya apartment. Inside, everything was unusually quiet. A 4-year-old Izuku Midoriya sat on the edge of the sofa with his hands folded together. His mother, Izuku Midoriya, nervously watched the television without truly paying attention. Every few seconds, she glanced at the clock. The appointment had taken less than an hour. Yet it felt much longer. A knock came from the front door. Knock, knock. Izuku immediately stood up. I'll get it. She opened the door. The neighborhood doctor offered a sympathetic smile. I've finished reviewing the examination. Izuku invited him inside. Izuku quietly listened. The doctor adjusted his glasses before speaking. After examining his joints and conducting the standard quirk assessment, he paused. I'm afraid Izuku Midoriya is quirkless. Silence filled the room. Izuku lowered her head. I see. The doctor nodded gently. It isn't common, but it does happen. He can still live a normal life. I wish your family the best. After offering a respectful bow, the doctor left. The front door closed. Click. Izuku remained standing for several seconds. Her shoulders trembled. She turned toward her son. Tears slowly formed in her eyes. I'm so sorry, Izuku. The little boy looked at her. His expression remained calm. Then, a sudden pain pierced his head. Crack. He grabbed both sides of his face. His breathing became uneven. Ha, ha. The room spun. Countless unfamiliar images flashed before his eyes. A grand mansion. A noble family. A smiling man with a thick beard. A stone mask. A young blonde boy laughing arrogantly. A loyal friend named Speedwagon. A mysterious old master. The sun. Golden energy flowing through the body. An enormous burning ship. A final embrace. A man's proud smile. One name echoed louder than everything else. Jonathan Joestar. Izuku gasped. His pupils widened. His heartbeat accelerated. Boom, boom, boom. The flood of memories continued. Years of training, acts of kindness, countless battles, the discipline of a gentle man, the ancient breathing technique known as Hamon. Every lesson, every victory, every sacrifice, everything became one. The pain suddenly disappeared. Silence returned. Izuku slowly lowered his hands. His breathing steadied. His eyes no longer held the confusion of a child. Instead, there was quiet composure. Izuku rushed toward him. Izuku, are you all right? She knelt beside him and gently held his shoulders. Izuku looked at her. For a brief moment, he almost called her by another name. But he stopped himself. A warm smile appeared on his face. I'm all right, mother. The word left his mouth naturally. Izuku blinked. Mother. Izuku blinked as well. He had never addressed her that way before. He hesitated. I'm sorry. It just felt appropriate. Izuku smiled weakly. She hugged him tightly. I'm just glad you're okay. Izuku slowly returned the hug. As he closed his eyes, the memories settled into place. He was Izuku Midoriya. He had grown up in this peaceful world. He loved his mother. He dreamed of becoming a hero. But he was also Jonathan Joestar, a young nobleman from another life. Every memory remained perfectly clear. Every lesson remained intact. Every value had become part of him once again. He quietly looked down at his small hands. Tiny, weak, untrained, but healthy. A body capable of growing stronger. A body capable of mastering Hamon once more. He remembered every movement, every breathing rhythm, every exercise, every technique taught by Will Antonio Zeppeli. A faint smile crossed his face. I still remember. Inko tilted her head. Remember what? Izuku looked toward her. Nothing important. I simply know. I shouldn't give up. Inko gently wiped away her tears. That's my brave boy. Later that evening, the rain finally stopped. Sunlight broke through the clouds. Golden rays entered the apartment through the living room window. Izuku stood quietly beside it. He took a slow breath. Then another. His posture naturally straightened. He inhaled deeply. His chest expanded. His heartbeat slowed. His breathing became smooth, steady, controlled. He could already feel it. Not power, not strength, only rhythm. The first step had begun. He slowly opened his eyes. Outside, children laughed as they played with their newly awakened quirks. Izuku watched them with a gentle smile. He felt no jealousy, no anger, no resentment. He simply turned away from the window. Tomorrow, his training would begin. The following morning, the sun slowly rose above Musudafu. Golden light spread across the quiet neighborhood. Birds chirped from nearby trees. Izuku stood alone in the small backyard behind the apartment. He wore simple training clothes. His eyes remained calm. He slowly inhaled, then exhaled. Again, again. Every breath followed a precise rhythm. Deep, steady, controlled. He remembered every lesson, every correction, every word spoken by Will Antonio Zeppeli. Hamon was not a quirk. It was life energy born from proper breathing. Without breath, there was no Hamon. Without discipline, there was no progress. Izuku closed his eyes. His lungs expanded. The air flowed smoothly through his body. His heartbeat synchronized with his breathing. Slowly, warmth spread through his arms. His fingertips tingled slightly. A small smile appeared. It still works. Several minutes later, Inko opened the back door. Izuku, breakfast is ready. She stopped. Her son was standing perfectly still beneath the morning sun. His breathing never changed. His posture was almost flawless. She smiled. You're exercising already. Izuku opened his eyes. Yes, I wanted to become stronger. Inko laughed softly. Just don't overwork yourself. I won't. After breakfast, Izuku returned outside. This time, he began physical training. Push-ups. 1, 2, 3. His breathing never became uneven. Every movement matched his rhythm. After 50, he stood. Immediately, he began squats, then stredikas, then running around the neighborhood. Again, again, again. Hours passed. Sweat covered his face. His muscles burned, yet his breathing remained stable. An elderly man walking his dog watched the young boy run past for what felt like the 10th time. Energetic kid. Izuku smiled politely while passing. Good morning, sir. The old man smiled back. Good morning. By noon, Izuku finally stopped beneath a large tree. His body ached. His legs felt heavy. He leaned against the trunk. Then remembered another lesson. Even when exhausted, never lose your rhythm. He straightened. Slowly inhaled. Slowly exhaled. Within moments, the burning sensation in his muscles eased. His breathing carried fresh oxygen through every part of his body. Warmth spread naturally. Fatigue slowly faded. Not completely, but enough. Izuku looked at his hands. Amazing. He placed one hand against the tree. Another slow breath. His fingers began glowing with a faint golden light. Very weak. Barely visible. The energy disappeared almost immediately. Hamon. His heartbeat quickened. He had succeeded. Only for a moment. But it was real. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Every morning, before sunrise, Izuku trained. Breathing, running, climbing, swimming, meditation. Every exercise strengthened both his body and his breathing rhythm. His classmates began noticing the difference. Inside preschool, several children struggled to move heavy wooden blocks. Izuku quietly walked over. "I'll help." He lifted 2 blocks at once. Not because he was naturally strong, but because his body had become far more efficient. One boy blinked. "You're really strong." Izuku smiled. "I've been practicing." Meanwhile, across the classroom, Katsuki Bakugo had just demonstrated his newly awakened explosion quirk. Small sparks burst from his palms. Hop, hop. The other children immediately surrounded him. "So cool. You'll definitely become a hero." Bakugo grinned proudly. "Told you." One of the children looked toward Izuku. "What about you? You still don't have a quirk." The room became quiet. Bakugo laughed. "Ha, I already knew. You'll never catch up to me." Several children laughed with him. Izuku simply looked at Bakugo. There was no anger, no frustration, only calm. "Congratulations. I hope your quirk helps many people." Bakugo frowned. "What? You have a wonderful opportunity. I hope you use it well." Bakugo stared at him. That wasn't the reaction he expected. No tears. No excuses. No fear. "You're weird." Izuku smiled gently. "Perhaps." That afternoon, Izuku walked home alone. The warm breeze moved through the trees. Whoosh. He stopped beside a small river. He looked at the flowing water. A memory surfaced. Jonathan standing beside a river. Zeppeli smiling proudly, teaching him the next step. Izuku crouched. He extended one finger toward the water. A slow breath entered his lungs. His heartbeat synchronized once again. Warmth flowed into his arm. A faint golden ripple spread across his fingertip. The instant it touched the water, rip, golden rings expanded across the river's surface. One, then another. The ripples continued traveling much farther than ordinary waves. They shimmered briefly before disappearing. Izuku watched silently. "It has become stronger." He stood. His body still had years to grow. His Hamon was only beginning. But every day, his breathing became steadier. His body became tougher. His control became sharper. And although the world believed he had been born without power, a forgotten strength from another era had already begun awakening beneath the light of the sun. 2 years passed. Izuku Midoriya was now 6 years old. His daily routine never changed. Before sunrise, he trained. Deep breathing, running, balance exercises, strength training. Then, Hamon practiced beneath the morning sun. His body had become noticeably stronger than that of an average child. His posture remained straight. Every movement was calm. Every breath was controlled. Inside Aldera Elementary School, children excitedly talked about heroes. "My explosion quirk is stronger now. I can shoot water. I can make my toys float." Laughter filled the classroom. Izuku quietly sat at his desk. A notebook rested in front of him. Instead of drawing heroes, he was critiquing the human circulatory system. Beside it were detailed notes. Proper breathing improves oxygen flow. Blood circulation determines Hamon efficiency. Control begins with discipline. His pencil continued moving. Scratic, scratic, scratic. The classroom door suddenly opened. Bang. Katsuki Bakugo entered with several classmates behind him. He wore his usual confident grin. Everyone naturally made room for him. Bakugo walked toward Izuku's desk. "So, the quirkless loser is studying again." Several boys laughed. Izuku calmly closed his notebook. Good morning, Bakugo. Bakugo frowned. Don't greet me like we're friends. I was simply being polite. Bakugo clicked his tongue. Tick. One boy behind Bakugo picked up Izuku's notebook. What's this? He flipped through the pages. No heroes. No quirks. Just muscles. The other children laughed. Bakugo grabbed the notebook. He looked through the pages himself. Human anatomy. Breathing techniques. Exercise schedules. Heart rate calculations. None of it made sense to him. You're wasting your time. Izuku stood from his chair. I don't believe any effort spent improving oneself is a waste. Bakugo smirked, still talking like an old man. Tiny sparks danced across Bakugo's palm. Hop, hop, you don't even have a quirk. So how are you planning to become a hero? The classroom became quiet. Everyone looked toward Izuku, waiting, expecting him to hesitate. Instead, Izuku smiled gently. There are many kinds of strength. Bakugo laughed. Ha, number. There are heroes, and there are extras. Without warning, Bakugo tossed the notebook toward the classroom window. The notebook struck the frame. Thud. Several pages scattered across the floor. One of the boys laughed loudly. Go pick it up. Izuku slowly walked forward. He knelt, carefully gathered every page, straightened each corner, placed them back inside. Not a single complaint left his mouth. Bakugo stared. You're not even angry. Izuku looked at him. I am disappointed. Disappointed. A person's strength should never be used to belittle others. Silence. Bakugo's smile disappeared. What did you say? You possess an incredible gift. It would be unfortunate if arrogance prevented you from reaching your full potential. The classroom became completely silent. No one had ever spoken to Bakugo like that. Not with fear, not with anger, not with admiration. Simply, calm honesty. Bakugo stepped closer. You think you're better than me. I never said that. Then stop acting like some perfect hero. Tiny explosions burst from Bakugo's hand. Hop, hop. Several classmates stepped backward. Izuku remained where he stood. His breathing never changed. His heartbeat remained steady. His shoulders relaxed. He looked directly into Bakugo's eyes. There wasn't the slightest hint of fear. Bakugo felt it immediately. He couldn't explain it. The quirkless boy standing before him somehow seemed larger. Not physically. Something else. An invisible pressure. A quiet confidence. For the first time, Bakugo hesitated. Only for a second. The school bell rang. Ring. Ring. Their teacher entered the classroom. Everyone, take your seats. Bakugo clicked his tongue. Tick. He shoved Izuku's shoulder while walking away. This isn't over. Izuku simply nodded. I understand. Classes passed normally. When school ended, Izuku walked home through a nearby park. The afternoon sun shone brightly overhead. Children played on the swings. Others practiced using harmless quirks under their parents' supervision. As Izuku crossed a small bridge, he heard frightened voices. Help! Our ball! 3 younger children stood beside the river. A football floated several meters away. The current slowly carried it downstream. One little girl looked ready to cry. My dad just bought it. Without saying a word, Izuku removed his shoes. He stepped onto the wooden railing. One deep breath. His heartbeat synchronized. Warmth spread through his body. Golden energy quietly flowed through his legs. Very faint. Barely visible. He leapt. Whoosh. Instead of falling awkwardly, he landed lightly on a large rock in the middle of the river. Then another. Then another. Each jump was perfectly balanced. The children watched with wide eyes. Izuku reached the floating ball. He picked it up. One final jump carried him safely back to shore. Splash. Only the soles of his feet became slightly wet. He handed the ball back. I believe this belongs to you. The little girl hugged it tightly. Thank you. Her friends bowed repeatedly. Thank you so much. Izuku smiled warmly. Please be more careful near the river. The children nodded enthusiastically. We will. As they ran home, an elderly man sitting beneath a nearby tree had witnessed everything. He stroked his beard thoughtfully. Interesting. That child. He doesn't move like an ordinary boy. Far above, the afternoon sunlight shone brightly across the river. Izuku quietly put his shoes back on, then continued walking home. His breathing remained steady. His steps remained calm. Without realizing it, the spirit of Jonathan Joestar had already begun changing the people around him, one quiet act at a time. 10 years passed. Izuku Midoriya stood on a quiet hill overlooking Musudafu. He was 14 years old. The morning breeze gently moved his green hair. Whoosh! His body had changed dramatically. Years of disciplined training had given him a sturdy physique. Not bulky, not overwhelming, simply balanced. Every muscle had been built through constant exercise and Hamon breathing. Izuku slowly inhaled. His lungs expanded completely. His heartbeat synchronized with every breath. Warm golden energy quietly flowed through his body. Tiny ripples of light briefly appeared around his fingertips before fading. His control had become precise. His endurance had increased beyond ordinary human limits. Most importantly, his breathing never broke during combat practice. Several wooden logs stood nearby. Each had been prepared for training. Izuku stepped forward. He gently placed one hand against the nearest log. A calm breath entered his lungs. Golden energy gathered beneath his palm. Very faint, very controlled. Hamon. A soft pulse spread into the wood. Rip. The entire log trembled. Several small cracks appeared from the inside. Crack. The surface remained almost untouched. A second later. Boom. The log split cleanly into dozens of pieces. Izuku smiled. My control has improved. He spent another hour practicing. Punches, footwork, breathing, everything flowed together naturally, like a single movement. Later that afternoon, Izuku walked through downtown Musudafu. The streets were crowded. People enjoyed the warm weather. Children laughed. Office workers hurried home. Street vendors called for customers. A large television outside an electronics shop displayed live hero news. The #1 hero, All Might, successfully captured another villain this morning. Cheers erupted from nearby pedestrians. Izuku smiled. He's incredible. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed several streets away. Boom. People screamed. Smoke rose into the sky. What happened? Run. A villain. Izuku immediately sprinted toward the commotion. Only minutes earlier, a large bottle had fallen onto the pavement. It shattered. Crash. A thick mass of living sludge burst outward. The sludge villain laughed. Ha ha ha. Freedom. It lunged into the crowd. People scattered in panic. A nearby hero rushed forward. The sludge slipped around every attack. Another hero tried freezing it. The slime simply flowed around the ice. The sludge villain laughed again. You can't catch me. Moments later, a familiar figure appeared. Blonde hair, massive smile, towering muscles. I am here. All Might crashed into the street. Boom. The crowd erupted into cheers. The sludge villain panicked. No. Within seconds, All Might captured the villain inside several reinforced bottles. The crowd applauded loudly. Izuku watched from behind the safety line. His eyes sparkled. Amazing. As reporters surrounded All Might, a small crack appeared in one bottle. Crack. Nobody noticed. A thin stream of sludge leaked out. Then another. Then, boom. The bottle burst apart. The sludge villain exploded across the street. People screamed. Run. The slime rapidly searched for a host. Its eyes locked onto one teenager. Katsuki Bakugo. What? Before Bakugo could react, the sludge wrapped around his entire body. Gah! His explosions erupted wildly. Boom. Boom. The villain absorbed every blast. Ha ha ha. Excellent. Such a powerful quirk. Professional heroes surrounded the scene. None could safely attack. Every attempt risked killing Bakugo. Smoke filled the intersection. Izuku clenched his fists. His breathing slowed. Calm. Steady. Controlled. He observed carefully. The sludge villain's body constantly shifted. Liquid. Flexible. But still connected. Still alive. Hamon. He whispered. It travels through living bodies. Without another thought, Izuku dashed forward. Several heroes shouted, "Kid, stop." All Might turned. Midoriya. Izuku ignored the voices. His breathing deepened. Warmth spread through every vein. Golden energy gathered throughout his arms. Tiny sparks danced around his hands. The sludge villain laughed. Another child. It extended several tendrils toward Izuku. Whoosh. Izuku stepped aside smoothly. Every movement remained controlled. He slipped between the tendrils without wasting motion. The villain attacked again. Faster. More tendrils. Whoosh. Whoosh. Izuku reached Bakugo. He placed one glowing hand directly onto the sludge covering Bakugo's shoulder. The sludge villain laughed. "You fool." Izuku took one deep breath. Golden light burst across his arm. The energy flowed directly into the villain. Sunlight yellow overdrive. Rip. Golden ripples raced through the entire slime body. The sludge villain's laughter stopped instantly. What is this? Steam erupted from every part of its body. Hiss. Hiss. The slime rapidly lost cohesion. It began separating from Bakugo. No. It burns. The golden Hamon spread further. Like sunlight passing through flowing water. The villain's liquid body broke apart from within. Large sections evaporated into harmless vapor. Hiss. Bakugo dropped onto the pavement. Cough. He immediately rolled away, breathing heavily. The remaining sludge desperately tried to escape. Izuku extended both hands. Another steady breath. Golden energy surged again. Overdrive. Boom. A powerful wave of Hamon passed through the remaining sludge. The villain completely lost its form. Every piece collapsed into ordinary muddy water. Silence followed. The street became completely still. One firefighter blinked. "It's over." Another hero stared at the puddle. Without freezing it, without burning it, without blowing it apart, All Might slowly walked toward Izuku. His eyes remained fixed on the teenager. What was that power? Izuku looked at his glowing hands. The light gradually faded. It is an ancient breathing art. It harms living evil without harming those it protects. Bakugo slowly stood. He looked at Izuku. For the first time in years, he couldn't find a single insult to say. The boy he had always called Quirkless had just saved his life in front of dozens of professional heroes. And every hero present, including All Might, had witnessed it. The intersection remained silent. Smoke slowly drifted into the air. Hiss. The last traces of the sludge villain disappeared into a shallow puddle. Professional heroes stood frozen. Nobody had expected the battle to end this way. Bakugo sat on the broken pavement. His breathing remained heavy. He stared at his trembling hands. Then, he looked toward Izuku. His voice caught in his throat. No words came out. The crowd slowly erupted into cheers. He saved him. The villain disappeared. Who's that kid? Reporters immediately surrounded the scene. Cameras flashed. Click, click. Police officers hurried forward to establish a perimeter. All Might raised one hand. Please, give the young man some space. The reporters reluctantly stepped back. All Might walked toward Izuku. Even with his confident smile, his eyes remained serious. You called it an ancient breathing art. Izuku nodded. Yes. Is it your quirk? Izuku slowly shook his head. I was born quirkless. Several nearby heroes widened their eyes. Quirkless. But, he defeated a villain. All Might stared at Izuku. His experience told him the young man wasn't lying. He could also feel something unusual. The energy Izuku had used wasn't a quirk. It had felt different. I see. Police officers finished securing the area. The captured remains of the sludge villain were collected for investigation. Soon, the crowd slowly dispersed. Bakugo stood up. His school uniform was covered in dirt. He walked toward Izuku. The two boys stood face to face. For several long seconds, neither spoke. Finally, Bakugo clicked his tongue. Tick. He turned away. His fists tightened. I didn't need saving. Izuku smiled gently. I'm glad you're safe. Bakugo froze. He didn't turn around. Without another word, he walked away. That evening, the setting sun painted the city orange. Izuku quietly walked home. His school bag rested over one shoulder. His thoughts remained calm. He had used Hamon openly for the first time. There was no taking it back. A familiar voice echoed from behind. Young man. Izuku turned. All Might stood on top of a nearby rooftop. Not in his towering muscular form. Instead, his thin body leaned slightly against a railing. He coughed into one hand. Cough. Izuku's eyes widened. All Might, the symbol of peace, smiled awkwardly. You've already discovered my secret. Izuku climbed onto the rooftop. I won't tell anyone. I know. All Might chuckled softly. That isn't why I called you. The evening breeze passed between them. Whoosh. All Might looked toward the city. I've been a hero for many years. I've met countless people. Yet today, you surprised me. Izuku remained silent. You charged toward danger. You protected someone who had treated you poorly. And you did it knowing you possessed no quirk. Izuku looked at the distant skyline. I simply did what I believed was right. All Might smiled. I expected that answer. For several moments, neither spoke. Finally, All Might reached into his pocket. He held a single strand of blonde hair. I possess a power. It can be passed from one person to another. Izuku's eyes focused on the strand. It is called One for All. The name immediately drew Jonathan's memories to attention. Not because he recognized it. Because he recognized responsibility. A power inherited. A legacy entrusted. All Might continued. I've searched for a successor. Someone worthy. Someone who places others before themselves. He looked directly into Izuku's eyes. I believe that person is you. Silence filled the rooftop. Izuku slowly closed his eyes. He remembered another inheritance. The ripple. Zeppeli's final sacrifice. Jonathan's determination. Every generation passing hope forward. When he opened his eyes again, his answer was immediate. I accept. All Might blinked. You didn't hesitate. A great power should be used to protect others. If you believe I am worthy, I will do everything I can to honor that trust. A wide smile spread across All Might's face. Ha ha ha. Excellent. He handed the strand of hair to Izuku. Eat this. Izuku looked at it. Eat it. Yes. Raw. Yes. Izuku politely accepted the hair. Very well. He swallowed it. Several seconds passed. Nothing happened. Izuku looked at All Might. Is that all? All Might laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. For now. He folded his arms. Your body isn't ready yet. You'll spend the next 10 months preparing. I'll personally train you. Izuku bowed respectfully. It will be an honor. The following morning, training began. Dagoba Municipal Beach. Mountains of abandoned rubbish covered the shoreline. Rusted cars. Broken furniture. Old appliances. Scrap metal stretched as far as the eye could see. All Might stood beside Izuku. This beach will become your training ground. Izuku looked across the enormous landfill. Understood. He took a deep breath. His Hamon rhythm remained steady. Golden warmth quietly flowed through his body. Then he looked at the endless piles of rubbish. A small smile appeared. I shall give this task everything I have. All Might smiled. Good. Because by the time UA's entrance exam arrives, you'll inherit not one, but two extraordinary legacies. The morning sun rose above the beach. A new chapter in Izuku Midoriya's journey had begun. The first day of training began before sunrise. Cold waves rolled against the shore. Splash. Seagulls flew overhead. The mountain of abandoned rubbish stretched across Dagoba Municipal Beach. Rusted refrigerators, broken televisions, old tires, discarded furniture. The entire coastline had become a landfill. All Might stood with his arms crossed. This is your challenge. Clear the entire beach. In 10 months. Izuku quietly observed the mountain of debris. It was enormous. Far beyond anything he had ever attempted. He nodded. I understand. All Might smiled. This isn't only about strength. It's about endurance, discipline, and building a body capable of inheriting one for all. Izuku took a slow breath. His heartbeat settled into its familiar rhythm. Warmth flowed through his body. Golden Hamon quietly circulated beneath his skin. I'll begin immediately. He walked toward an old washing machine. It was heavily rusted, buried beneath broken wooden planks. He firmly gripped both sides. One deep breath. His legs tightened. He lifted. Creak. The washing machine slowly rose from the sand. All Might raised an eyebrow. Already. Izuku carried it toward the recycling truck. His breathing never changed. Steady. Even. He carefully lowered it. Thud. Then he returned for another piece. And another. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher. Sweat soaked Izuku's clothes. His muscles trembled from exhaustion. Even so, his breathing never became chaotic. All Might watched carefully. Normally, a teenager would already be gasping for air. Instead, every few minutes, Izuku deliberately slowed his breathing. Almost immediately, his fatigue eased. Interesting. By noon, Izuku attempted to lift an abandoned compact car. He crouched, placed both hands beneath the frame. His muscles tightened. The vehicle barely moved. He slowly exhaled. My posture is wrong. He stepped back, adjusted his footing, straightened his spine. Another deep breath. Warm Hamon flowed through his entire body. He lifted again. Creak. The front wheels left the ground. All Might smiled. Excellent. The training continued every day. Morning, afternoon, evening. Izuku's routine never changed. Strength training, running along the beach, swimming through rough waves, carrying scrap metal, cleaning debris, Hamon breathing, recovery. Then, the next day began again. Weeks passed. The mountain gradually became smaller. One afternoon, dark clouds gathered overhead. Rain suddenly poured across the beach. Tap, tap, tap. Most people would have stopped. Izuku continued. All Might watched from beneath an umbrella. Training in the rain, Izuku nodded. My breathing must remain stable in every environment. The rain soaked his clothes. His shoes became heavy. The sand turned into mud. Still, his rhythm remained perfect. Another month passed. During one training session, All Might tossed an old engine block toward Izuku. Katak. Izuku immediately reacted. He caught it with both hands. Boom. His feet slid backwards through the sand. Several meters. But he didn't fall. All Might grinned. Good. Again. The next throw came harder. Boom. Then another. Boom. Then another. Each impact strengthened Izuku's body. His muscles adapted. His bones grew stronger. His balance improved every day. One evening, the beach had become noticeably cleaner. Rows of sorted metal lined the shoreline. Old boats had been dismantled. Entire sections of sand became visible once again. All Might walked beside Izuku. You've exceeded my expectations. Izuku smiled. I still have much to improve. I know. The symbol of peace looked toward the sunset. Are you ready? Izuku nodded. All Might placed a hand on his shoulder. Then it's time. They stood in the middle of the beach. The evening wind blew across the sea. Whoosh. One for all. All Might said quietly. Is not a simple quirk. It stores power. Every generation strengthens it. Izuku listened carefully. When it enters your body, it will try to overflow. If your body isn't prepared, it will destroy your muscles. It will shatter your bones. Izuku nodded once. I understand. All Might smiled. But your training has given you something very unusual. Izuku looked at him. Your body has become incredibly resilient. And your Hamon, I've noticed what it does. Izuku quietly answered. It accelerates my natural recovery. It improves circulation. It reduces fatigue. It strengthens damaged muscles while they heal. All Might folded his arms. I've never seen anything like it. He extended another strand of blonde hair. This time, it will work. Izuku respectfully accepted it. Without hesitation, he swallowed it. Silence. Nothing happened. Then, a sudden warmth spread through his chest. Boom. His heartbeat accelerated. Golden Hamon immediately reacted. Warm light flowed through every vein. At the same time, a second power awakened. Like a roaring current. Wild, overwhelming. Green sparks burst across his arms. Crack. The air trembled. The sand beneath his feet scattered outward. Whoosh. Izuku's eyes widened. So this is. One for all surged through his body. The enormous power pushed against every muscle. Every tendon. Every bone. Normally, his arms would have shattered immediately. Instead, Golden Hamon spread across the strained areas. Warm energy flowed through tiny tears in his muscles. The pain remained, but the damage slowed. His body endured. Green lightning and Golden Hamon intertwined around him. Crack. Rip. For several seconds, both energies flowed together without rejecting one another. All Might stared in complete disbelief. He survived. The green lightning slowly faded. Izuku exhaled deeply. His breathing returned to normal. He looked down at his hands. Tiny golden ripples danced between faint green sparks. Neither disappeared. They coexisted. A smile appeared on All Might's face. Congratulations, Midoriya. You've become the first person to wield both One for All and Hamon. Far above them, the last rays of the setting sun disappeared beyond the horizon. Their true training had finally begun. 10 months later, the first rays of sunlight illuminated the now pristine shoreline of Dagoba Municipal Beach. The towering piles of rubbish had vanished. Golden sand streaked along the coast. The sea sparkled peacefully beneath the morning sky. Gentle waves rolled onto the shore. Splash. Izuku Midoriya stood at the water's edge. Now 14 years old, he looked far different from the frail child he once had been. His body was lean and athletic. Years of Hamon breathing had strengthened every muscle. Months of All Might's relentless training had forged his body even further. Tiny green sparks occasionally danced around his arms. Crack. Just as quickly, golden ripples flowed beneath his skin, calming the unstable energy. The two powers had gradually learned to coexist. Behind him, All Might smiled proudly. You did it. Izuku looked across the clean beach. We did it. All Might laughed. Ha ha ha. Still humble, Izuku bowed slightly. I simply received excellent guidance. All Might folded his arms. Today is the day. The UA entrance exam. Izuku nodded calmly. I am prepared. A few moments later, they arrived outside UA High School. The enormous academy stood proudly before hundreds of applicants. Students filled the entrance plaza. Some nervously reviewed notes. Others eagerly demonstrated their quirks. Excited conversations echoed everywhere. Did you hear there are giant robots? They say one robot is worth 3 points. I'm aiming for the recommended course next year. Izuku quietly observed the crowd. Every student possessed confidence. Every student possessed a quirk. Yet, his expression remained peaceful. All Might placed one hand on his shoulder. Remember. Izuku looked toward him. A true hero doesn't compete against others. He competes against the person he was yesterday. Izuku smiled warmly. All remember that. All Might grinned. Go. Inside the examination hall, thousands of students filled the enormous auditorium. Present Mike leapt onto the stage. Yeah, welcome, future heroes. The crowd erupted with excitement. Present Mike enthusiastically explained the rules. 3 kinds of combat robots. 1-point robots, 2-point robots, 3-point robots, and finally, the mysterious 0-pointer. That one's worth 0 points. So don't waste your time fighting it. Several students laughed. Others took notes. Izuku quietly listened. He committed every detail to memory. Nearby, Tenya Iida adjusted his glasses. He noticed Izuku calmly listening instead of chatting. Disciplined, he muttered quietly. Not far away, Ochako Uraraka nervously looked around. She accidentally bumped shoulders with Izuku. Oh, I'm so sorry. Izuku immediately bowed. The fault was equally mine. I wasn't paying enough attention. Ochako blinked. You're really polite. Izuku smiled. My mother taught me that courtesy costs nothing. Ochako giggled. Good luck. And to you. Outside, the enormous examination gates slowly opened. Heavy machinery rumbled. Creak. Present Mike's voice echoed through loudspeakers. Start. Most applicants immediately sprinted forward. Boom. 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 Izuku remained still for 1 second. He calmly inhaled. His breathing settled. His heartbeat synchronized. Golden Hamon spread throughout his body. Green sparks quietly flickered around his legs. Then, he moved. Whoosh. His acceleration shocked several nearby students. Rather than explosive power, his movement was incredibly smooth. Every step transferred perfectly into the next. No wasted motion. Within seconds, he reached the first 1-point robot. The machine raised one metal arm. Whir. Izuku stepped inside its attack. One hand touched its chest. A single breath. Golden energy surged through his palm. Overdrive. Rip. Hamon spread through the robot's internal wiring. Electric circuits overloaded instantly. Sparks burst from every joint. Crack. The machine froze. Then collapsed into lifeless scrap. Boom. Nearby examinees stopped briefly. What? He only touched it. Izuku continued running. A 2-point robot charged toward him. Metal claws extended. Clang. Instead of dodging, Izuku jumped. His body rotated gracefully. He landed atop the robot's shoulders. One controlled punch struck the top of its head. Green lightning flashed. Golden Hamon followed immediately after. Boom. The robot's entire frame collapsed. Its core shattered from the combined impact. Recovery Girl, watching through the observation monitors, leaned forward. Interesting. One examiner nodded slowly. He isn't simply relying on raw power. Every movement is calculated. Another examiner watched the replay. His breathing never changes. Not once. Minutes passed. One robot after another fell. Touch, punch, kick, palm strike. Each attack flowed naturally into the next. No unnecessary movements. No panic. No hesitation. His score rapidly climbed. 20 points. 30, 45, 61. Meanwhile, a 3-point robot cornered another applicant. The frightened student stumbled backwards. I can't move. The robot's fist descended. Whoosh. Before it landed, Izuku appeared between them. He caught the massive fist with both hands. Boom. His feet slid across the pavement. Dust scattered around him. The trapped student stared in disbelief. Izuku smiled gently. Please step back. The student immediately obeyed. Izuku inhaled deeply. Green lightning surged across both arms. Golden Hamon flowed beneath it. The two energies merged naturally. He pushed forward. Crack. The robot staggered backwards. Izuku stepped in. One powerful straight punch struck the center of its torso. Overdrive smash. Boom. The impact echoed across the examination zone. Golden ripples burst through the machine while One for All's force shattered its armor. Metal plates exploded outward. The robot crashed to the ground in pieces. Clang, clang. The rescued applicant stared with wide eyes. "Thank you." Izuku simply nodded. "I'm glad you're unharmed." High above, inside the observation room, All Might smiled quietly. "He hasn't changed." Nezu tilted his head. "Oh, he still saves people before thinking about points." Nezu's smile widened. "I had a feeling. He possesses the heart of a true hero." Far across the testing grounds, a massive shadow slowly emerged between the buildings. The ground trembled. Boom, boom, boom. The zero-pointer had begun moving. Students immediately screamed and fled in every direction. The final challenge of the entrance exam had arrived. The ground shook violently. Boom, boom, boom. The zero-pointer emerged from behind the buildings like a moving fortress. Its enormous metallic frame towered above the examination grounds. Each step cracked the pavement beneath its weight. Crack. Students screamed in panic. "Run! It's the zero-pointer. It isn't worth any points." Within seconds, hundreds of applicants scattered in every direction. Izuku stood atop a collapsed robot. His green eyes calmly followed the giant machine. So this is the zero-pointer. He made no move to attack. Present Mike had clearly explained that it awarded no points. There was no reason to waste energy. Instead, Izuku turned away. There were still smaller robots remaining throughout the examination area. Saving time meant earning more points. He immediately sprinted toward another sector. Whoosh. Elsewhere, Ochako Uraraka ran as fast as she could. Her breathing became uneven. "I have to get away." Suddenly, crack. The damaged road beneath her feet collapsed. Her ankle twisted awkwardly. She fell onto the broken pavement. Before she could stand, the zero-pointer's shadow engulfed her. She looked up. The gigantic robot slowly raised one of its massive legs. Inside the observation room, several examiners immediately became serious. Recovery Girl frowned. "That girl can't escape." One instructor reached toward the emergency shutdown controls. Nezu calmly raised a paw. "Wait, what?" Nezu's eyes remained fixed on another monitor. Watched carefully. Across the examination grounds, Izuku had already reached another one-point robot. He destroyed it with a single Hamon-infused palm strike. Rip. Boom. His score increased again. Then, he heard it. A frightened scream carried by the wind. "Help." His body froze. He immediately turned toward the sound. Far across the city block, he saw the enormous zero-pointer. And beneath it, a trapped girl, Ochako. Izuku took one slow breath. His expression remained calm. Jonathan's memories surfaced. A gentleman never abandons someone in danger. A hero never calculates the value of a life. There was nothing more to consider. He accelerated instantly. Whoosh. The pavement shattered beneath his feet. Crack. Green lightning flickered around his legs. Golden Hamon flowed through every muscle. His speed doubled, then doubled again. Nearby students stared. "Who's that?" "He's heading toward the zero-pointer." "Is he insane?" Ochako struggled to free herself. Her ankle refused to move. The giant robot's foot continued descending. Whoosh. She closed her eyes. A blur of green shot between the falling debris. Whoosh. Izuku landed beside her. "It's all right." Ochako opened her eyes. Midoriya. He gently placed one hand beneath her shoulder. "Can you stand?" She tried. Pain shot through her ankle. No. The shadow grew larger. The giant foot was only seconds away. Izuku looked upward. His breathing remained perfectly steady. One deep inhale. One slow exhale. Golden Hamon spread through every fiber of his body. At the same time, green lightning erupted across his arms. Crack. He carefully helped Ochako onto a nearby section of broken concrete. "Stay here." She grabbed his sleeve. "What are you doing?" Izuku smiled. Protecting someone. He stepped forward. Alone. The zero-pointer's enormous foot crashed downward. Boom. At the very last instant, Izuku thrust both hands upward. His feet dug deep into the shattered road. Crack. The impact shook the entire district. Dust exploded into the air. Whoosh. Inside the cloud of debris, the giant metal foot stopped. Completely. Silence filled the battlefield. Students stared with mouths hanging open. No way. He's holding it. Veins appeared along Izuku's forearms. Green lightning crackled wildly. Golden Hamon continuously flowed through his muscles, reinforcing them. Even so, the pressure was unbelievable. The pavement beneath him continued sinking. Crack, crack. Izuku narrowed his eyes. I cannot hold it forever. He slowly inhaled again. His heartbeat synchronized perfectly. The familiar warmth of Hamon merged with the explosive strength of One for All. The two powers resonated as one. Inside his mind, Jonathan's calm voice echoed through his memories. Strength without purpose is meaningless. Protect others with everything you possess. Izuku's grip tightened. I won't let anyone be harmed. With a powerful shout, ha! He pushed upward. Boom. The enormous leg was forced back several meters. The zero-pointer lost its balance. Its massive frame staggered. Izuku immediately leapt. Whoosh. He landed directly on the robot's chest. The machine's glowing central core rotated toward him. Mechanical arms extended. They fired simultaneously. Izuku calmly sidestepped. 1, 2, 3 attacks, each missed by mere centimeters. His breathing never faltered. He reached the center of the machine. The armor protecting its core was several meters thick. Ordinary attacks would barely scratch it. Izuku slowly placed his right palm against the metal. His left fist pulled back. Golden Hamon surged into the robot's internal circuits. Green lightning gathered around his arm. The two energies intertwined until they shone like the morning sun wrapped in emerald light. The surrounding air trembled. Even the nearby robots briefly stopped moving. Inside the observation room, All Might unconsciously took a step forward. Midoriya. Nezu's smile disappeared. For the first time, even he felt the overwhelming pressure gathering on the monitor. Izuku opened his eyes. His voice remained calm. Sunlight. Golden ripples expanded across the machine. Rip. Yellow. The armor began vibrating violently. Crack. Overdrive. Green lightning exploded around his fist. Smash. Boom. The impact erupted like thunder. A brilliant burst of emerald lightning and golden sunlight engulfed the zero-pointer's chest. The shockwave spread across the entire examination zone. Whoosh. Buildings trembled. Windows rattled. Dust scattered into the sky. The robot's armor shattered outward. Crack. Boom. The Golden Hamon surged through every internal system while One for All's overwhelming force pulverized the core itself. One after another, the giant machine's joints exploded. Boom. 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 Its glowing eyes faded. The towering body tilted backwards. For a brief moment, it stood motionless. Then, the enormous machine collapsed. Boom. The ground shook as the zero-pointer crashed into the street, reduced to nothing more than twisted metal and broken machinery. Silence followed. Not a single student spoke. Not a single examiner moved. They simply stared at the boy standing atop the fallen giant, sunlight shining behind him. Izuku turned toward Ochako. He walked over calmly and knelt beside her. Are you injured anywhere besides your ankle? Ochako could only stare at him. Then she smiled weakly. I'm all right. Izuku returned the smile. I'm glad. High above the battlefield, All Might folded his arms. A proud smile slowly spread across his face. The heart of a gentleman. And the power to uphold it. Beside him, Nezu quietly adjusted his teacup. I believe, UA High School has just found one of its most extraordinary students. 1 week later, the gates of UA High school opened once again. Fresh spring air drifted across the campus. Students walked through the courtyard, chatting excitedly as they made their way toward the main building. Class 1A had officially begun. Inside Classroom 1A, the room buzzed with conversation. I heard someone destroyed the zero-pointer. Seriously? They said it was only one punch. No way. Ochako smiled quietly while sitting at her desk. She glanced toward the classroom door. I wonder if he's coming. The door slid open. Swish. Izuku Midoriya entered. He wore the UA uniform neatly. His posture remained perfectly straight. His expression was calm as always. Several students immediately looked toward him. That's him. The zero-pointer guy. He looks normal. Izuku bowed politely. Good morning. Ochako waved enthusiastically. Midoriya. Izuku smiled warmly. Good morning, Uraraka. I'm glad your ankle recovered. She blinked. You remembered. Of course. I was concerned. Ochako smiled brightly. Thanks. Near the window, Tenya Iida adjusted his glasses. He walked over. I wished to properly thank you. You protected both Uraraka and the integrity of the examination. Izuku bowed slightly. I simply fulfilled my duty. Iida smiled. A remarkable answer. Suddenly, the classroom door opened again. Swish. A yellow sleeping bag slid inside. Several students blinked. The sleeping bag slowly unzipped. A tired-looking man emerged. Long black hair. Expressionless face. Red eyes. I'm Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher. Silence. It took 8 seconds before someone reacted. Not impressive. The students exchanged awkward looks. Aizawa tossed a gym uniform onto the floor. Get changed. We're having a quirk assessment test. Bakugo grinned. Finally. Minutes later. Training field Gamma. Students lined up across the athletic grounds. Aizawa explained each event. 50-meter dash. Grip strength. Standing long jump. Repeated side steps. Ball throw. Distance run. Sit-ups. Toe touch flexibility. The student with the lowest overall score. He paused. Will be expelled. Shock spread through the class. What? On the first day? That's insane. Aizawa remained expressionless. Heroes don't receive special treatment. Izuku quietly listened. His breathing remained steady. Bakugo smirked. Good. This separates the weak. The first event began. 50-meter dash. Bakugo exploded forward. Boom. He crossed the finish line in an instant. 4.13 seconds. Several students applauded. Next, Izuku stepped onto the starting line. Aizawa looked toward him. The entrance exam student. Izuku nodded once. Begin. Izuku inhaled. Green lightning quietly flickered around his legs. Golden Hamon flowed through every muscle. Go. Whoosh. He accelerated like an arrow. There was no explosion. No wasted movement. Only perfect efficiency. He crossed the finish line. 3.86 seconds. The class became silent. Bakugo frowned. Tick. Aizawa glanced at his tablet. Efficient. The remaining tests continued. Standing long jump. Izuku carefully regulated one for all to 5%. Hamon reinforced his joints before each landing. He soared across the sand pit. Thud. Aizawa recorded the result. Excellent control. Grip strength. Instead of crushing the device, Izuku slowly increased pressure. Carefully. Precisely. The machine displayed a remarkable value without breaking. Repeated side steps. His breathing never changed. His rhythm remained constant. Every movement flowed naturally. Distance run. Many students struggled. Some slowed near the finish. Others collapsed from exhaustion. Izuku continued at exactly the same pace from beginning to end. His breathing remained perfectly calm. Hamon continuously supplied oxygen throughout his body. He crossed the finish line looking almost untouched. Mina Ashido stared. Does he even get tired? Suyu nodded thoughtfully. He breathes the same the entire time. Finally, the ball throw. Bakugo stepped forward. He ignited a massive explosion. Boom. The baseball disappeared into the sky. 705.2 meters. Cheers erupted. Bakugo smirked confidently. Then, Aizawa looked toward Izuku Midoriya. Izuku stepped into the throwing circle. He held the baseball loosely. He looked toward the endless blue sky. One deep breath. His heartbeat synchronized. Golden Hamon circulated through his arm. Green lightning wrapped around his fingers. Unlike Bakugo, he didn't prepare a powerful swing. Instead, he calmly rotated his shoulders. One smooth motion. The ball left his hand. Whoosh. There was no explosion, only incredible speed. The baseball vanished almost instantly. The measuring device continued calculating. 1,000 meters. 2,000. 3,000. The students stared silently. The display finally stopped. Infinity. The class erupted. What? Infinity? How is that possible? Aizawa looked at the device. Interesting. He understood immediately. The throw had exceeded the measuring system's maximum range. Bakugo stared at Izuku. His fists slowly tightened. He's stronger. Not just stronger. Controlled. Calm. Reliable. Everything Bakugo prided himself on. Izuku possessed without arrogance. After the assessment ended, the students gathered near Aizawa. He looked across the class. The expulsion, he paused, was a rational deception. Several students sighed in relief. I wanted to observe your reactions under pressure. He looked directly at Izuku. You never panicked. Izuku answered calmly. Panic clouds judgment. Aizawa nodded once. I expected that answer. That afternoon, as Class 1A returned to the main building, far beneath UA High School, inside a massive hidden facility, dark purple mist slowly twisted through the air. Whoosh! Several figures emerged from the portal. A tall man covered in severed hands smiled beneath his scratching fingers. Tamura Shigaraki. Beside him stood a living warp gate. Kurogiri. Behind them, a monstrous creature slowly opened its glowing eyes. The Nomu. Shigaraki looked toward a large holographic map. His smile widened. The unforeseen simulation joint is almost ready. He slowly scratched his neck. Let's see whether the symbol of peace can protect his precious students. Several days later, Class 1A gathered outside the entrance of the unforeseen simulation joint. The enormous dome towered before them beneath the clear afternoon sky. Its massive glass ceiling reflected the sunlight. Students looked around with excitement. So this is the USJ. It's huge. I've never seen a training facility like this. A woman wearing a white rescue suit approached them with a gentle smile. Welcome. My name is 13. I'll be supervising today's rescue training. The students applauded. Even Bakugo crossed his arms with interest. 13 bowed politely. A hero's purpose is not only to defeat villains. It is to save lives. My quirk, Black Hole, can erase almost anything. But power without responsibility can become disastrous. The class listened attentively. Izuku nodded quietly. A wonderful philosophy. 13 smiled. Thank you. Aizawa stood near the entrance. We'll divide into teams after the explanation. Before he could continue, a strange purple mist appeared in the center of the facility. Whoosh! The air suddenly became heavy. Dark lightning flickered across the swirling portal. Crack! Every student immediately became alert. Kirishima frowned. Is this part of the exercise? Aizawa's expression instantly hardened. Number. The portal expanded. One figure slowly stepped forward. A young man covered in severed hands. His crimson eyes wandered across the students. Tamura Shigaraki. Behind him emerged dozens, then hundreds. Villains. Some carried blades. Others held guns. Several possessed monstrous quirks. Finally, a towering creature walked through the portal. Its exposed brain pulsed beneath pale skin. Its body resembled a patchwork monster built solely for destruction. The Nomu. The entire USJ fell silent. Shigaraki slowly scratched his neck. Scratch. So, this is UA. Kurogiri floated beside him. Our schedule appears correct. Shigaraki smiled. Where's All Might? Aizawa stepped in front of his students. His capture weapon slowly unraveled. You children. He spoke without looking back. Stay together. Izuku calmly observed the invading force. Over 100 villains. The Nomu. Kurogiri. Shigaraki. He immediately recognized the greatest threat. Not the monster. The warp user. If the class became separated, the villains would gain a tremendous advantage. Aizawa quietly whispered, 13. Protect the students. She nodded immediately. Before anyone could move, Kurogiri spread both arms. The purple mist expanded across the plaza. Whoosh. Warp gates opened everywhere. Students gasped. Izuku's breathing slowed. Steady. Controlled. He watched the mist carefully. It wasn't merely smoke. It was a living quirk. Jonathan's battle instincts surfaced. Never attack blindly. Understand the enemy first. The purple mist surged toward the students. Suyu shouted. We're being pulled. Several students lost their footing. Izuku planted both feet firmly. Green lightning flickered around his legs. Golden Hamon flowed beneath his skin. He thrust one glowing hand toward the approaching mist. Hamon. Golden ripples spread through the air. Rip. The Hamon didn't destroy the portal. Instead, it flowed through the living mist itself. Kurogiri's eyes widened. What? His body violently trembled. The warp gate became unstable. Purple mist scattered in every direction. Whoosh. What is happening? Izuku took another controlled breath. The sunlight streaming through the dome illuminated his body. Golden energy intensified. Hamon affects living beings. He said calmly. And you are alive. He thrust both palms forward. Overdrive. Rip. A powerful wave of Hamon surged directly into Kurogiri's body. The living mist convulsed violently. Purple portals flickered uncontrollably. Several gates collapsed before activating. Hop. 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 Students who had nearly been warped stumbled safely back onto solid ground. Aizawa's eyes widened. Midoriya. Shigaraki's smile disappeared. Kurogiri. The warp villain struggled desperately to maintain his form. My quirk is destabilizing. Golden Hamon continued disrupting the strange biological structure that sustained Kurogiri's body. The mist no longer obeyed him. Every attempt to create another portal immediately collapsed. Shigaraki's fingers twitched. So that's the troublesome student. He pointed directly at Izuku. Kill him first. More than 30 villains charged simultaneously. Bakugo grinned. Finally, Hiroshima cracked his knuckles. Let's go. Before anyone else moved, Aizawa disappeared. Whoosh. His capture weapon shot across the battlefield. Snap. 3 villains were instantly thrown to the ground. Boom. Another received a powerful kick. Crack. Aizawa moved like a phantom. Efficient. Precise. Merciless. Izuku immediately joined the battle. A blade-wielding villain swung toward him. Slash. Izuku stepped inside the attack. His breathing remained perfectly steady. One glowing finger lightly touched the villain's wrist. Rip. The man's muscles instantly spasmed. His weapon slipped from numb fingers. Clang. A second villain lunged from behind. Izuku pivoted smoothly. A palm strike landed against the attacker's chest. Overdrive. Boom. The villain flew backwards, unconscious before hitting the ground. 3 more rushed him together. Green lightning burst around Izuku's legs. Crack. He vanished from sight. Whoosh. One precise strike. Then another. Then another. Each attack combined controlled one for all with Hamon, overwhelming his opponents without excessive force. Within seconds, all 3 collapsed. Nearby, Bakugo blasted through a group of villains. Boom. Boom. I'll crush every last one of you. Todoroki froze an entire section of the battlefield. Crack. Ice spread across the ground. Several villains became trapped instantly. The students fought together remarkably well, without Kurogiri separating them. The numerical advantage of the villains rapidly disappeared. Shigaraki looked around in disbelief. This isn't how it was supposed to happen. Then, heavy footsteps echoed through the plaza. Boom, boom, boom. The Nomu entered the battlefield. Its lifeless eyes focused directly on Izuku. Shigaraki pointed toward him. Destroy him. The creature crouched, its powerful legs compressed. Crack. Then, boom. The Nomu launched itself like a missile. The ground exploded beneath its feet. Students shouted in alarm as the bio-weapon hurtled straight toward Izuku, its massive fist already drawn back for a devastating blow. Izuku calmly inhaled. Golden Hamon coursed through his body. Green lightning crackled around his clenched fists. For the first time since inheriting One for All, he would face an opponent created solely for overwhelming physical combat. The collision between the ripple and the bio-weapon was about to begin. The Nomu descended like a meteor. Boom. The ground shattered beneath its feet as it landed directly before Izuku. Chunks of concrete flew through the air. Crack. A violent shockwave spread across the plaza. Several nearby students staggered backwards. The creature's lifeless eyes locked onto Izuku. Without hesitation, it swung a massive fist. Whoosh! The air screamed under the force. Izuku calmly inhaled, his heartbeat synchronized. Golden Hamon flowed through every muscle. Green lightning wrapped around his body. At the last possible instant, he stepped sideways. The punch narrowly missed. Boom! The ground behind him exploded into a deep crater. Fast, Izuku observed quietly. The strength exceeds ordinary human limits. The Nomu attacked again, then again. Each punch carried enough force to demolish reinforced concrete. Boom, boom, boom. Izuku avoided every strike with minimal movement. His breathing never changed. Every dodge flowed naturally into the next. Nearby, Bakugo blasted another villain away before glancing toward the battle. That monster. Todoroki narrowed his eyes. It's keeping up with Midoriya. Aizawa defeated another opponent before noticing the Nomu. His expression darkened. That thing. He immediately erased its quirk. His red eyes glowed. The Nomu paused for only a brief moment. Then, it attacked again without slowing. Aizawa's eyes widened. It still moves. The Nomu's overwhelming physique remained intact. Its body had been engineered beyond normal limits. Even without its enhancement quirk, its raw physical strength remained monstrous. Shigaraki laughed softly. Nomu was designed to kill All Might. Did you think erasure would solve everything? The bio-weapon lunged again. Izuku ducked beneath a sweeping arm. Whoosh! The creature spun instantly. Its elbow crashed toward him. Izuku crossed both forearms. Green lightning erupted. Crack. Boom. The impact launched him backwards across the plaza. He slid nearly 20 meters before stopping. The pavement beneath his shoes split apart. Crack. Several students gasped. Izuku slowly lowered his arms. His sleeves had torn. Red marks appeared across his forearms. Hamon. Golden warmth immediately spread through the bruised muscles. Within seconds, the pain eased. Remarkable durability, Izuku admitted. The Nomu charged again. Its speed increased dramatically. Whoosh! This time, Izuku moved forward instead of backwards. The distance between them vanished instantly. The Nomu threw a straight punch. Izuku twisted his body. The fist passed beside his shoulder. Only centimeters away, his right palm landed against the creature's chest. Overdrive. Golden Hamon surged directly into the Nomu. Rip. The creature's body trembled. Steam escaped from several stitched wounds. Hiss. For a brief moment, the Nomu staggered backwards. Recovery Girl leaned forward while watching the monitors. It reacted. Nezu nodded thoughtfully. The monster is alive. Naturally, that mysterious energy affects it. Shigaraki frowned. Again, the Nomu roared. Raw. Its muscles expanded. It ignored the lingering Hamon and rushed forward once more. Izuku narrowed his eyes. The effect isn't sufficient. Jonathan's memories rapidly analyzed the situation. The Nomu possessed extraordinary regeneration. The Hamon damaged it, but the creature healed almost immediately. To overcome it, he needed overwhelming force alongside Hamon. Izuku inhaled deeply. His breathing became even slower. Even calmer. Golden energy spread throughout every vein. Green lightning intensified around his body. Across the battlefield, All Might finally arrived. Boom. He crashed through the ceiling entrance. Dust exploded outward. The entire USJ echoed with cheers. I am here. Every student looked toward him. Relief immediately spread across their faces. Shigaraki clicked his tongue. Late. All Might quickly surveyed the battlefield. His eyes stopped on Izuku. Then, on the Nomu. So, All Might smiled. You've found our special guest. Izuku nodded. It possesses tremendous physical strength and extraordinary regeneration. All Might looked carefully at the creature. I see. The Nomu immediately attacked him. Whoosh. All Might answered with a powerful punch. Boom. The two titans collided. A shockwave blasted across the USJ. Windows rattled. Dust surged into the air. Whoosh. The Nomu barely moved. Instead, it caught All Might's fist. Students stared in disbelief. It stopped All Might. All Might grinned. Not bad. The Nomu countered with a devastating punch. Boom. All Might slid backwards several meters. Shigaraki laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. Go on. Nomu. Kill him. Izuku calmly watched the exchange. His eyes carefully analyzed every movement. The Nomu relied entirely on overwhelming physical ability. Its attacks were direct, brutal, powerful, but predictable. He quietly spoke. All Might. The symbol of peace glanced toward him while blocking another heavy punch. What is it, young Midoriya? I can disrupt its regeneration. All Might smiled immediately. I thought so. Then, Izuku continued. I'll create the opening. Before All Might could respond, Izuku disappeared. Whoosh. He sprinted directly toward the battling giants. Golden Hamon illuminated both hands. Green lightning surrounded his legs. His calm breathing echoed softly beneath the chaos. One hero carried the inherited power of generations. The other carried the ancient light of the ripple. Together, they charged toward the bio-weapon created to destroy the symbol of peace. The battlefield trembled beneath the clash of titans. Boom. All Might's fist collided with the Nomu once again. A powerful shockwave rippled across the USJ. Concrete cracked. Dust filled the air. Students struggled to remain standing. Even the villains instinctively stepped backwards. The sheer force of the battle dwarfed every other fight taking place. The Nomu roared. Raw. Its massive arms swung toward All Might's head. All Might raised his forearm. Boom. The impact forced him back several meters. His shoes carved deep trenches into the broken pavement. Strong. All Might admitted. Very strong. Nearby, Shigaraki smiled beneath the hand covering his face. Of course. It was designed specifically to kill you. The Nomu charged again. Its movements became increasingly aggressive. Punch. Kick. Elbow. Every strike carried enough force to level buildings. All Might countered each attack. But something became obvious. The Nomu recovered almost instantly after every successful hit. Izuku watched carefully. His breathing remained calm. Every exchange confirmed his earlier conclusion. It regenerates immediately after receiving damage. Jonathan's battle experience resurfaced. A regenerative enemy must be overwhelmed before healing could compensate. Simply striking harder wasn't enough. The regeneration itself needed to be interrupted. Izuku looked toward All Might. Our attacks must overlap. All Might blocked another heavy punch. Boom. He smiled. You've already figured it out. I require one opening. You'll have it. The symbol of peace suddenly changed his rhythm. Instead of trading blow for blow, he began driving the Nomu backwards. One punch. Boom. Another. Boom. A shoulder tackle. Crash. The bio-weapon staggered several steps. Shigaraki frowned. Nomu, All Might deliberately positioned himself. Each attack subtly forced the creature into the center of the plaza. Away from the students. Away from the villains. Toward open ground. Izuku immediately understood. He sprinted. Whoosh. Green lightning wrapped around his legs. Golden Hamon surged throughout his body. The Nomu noticed him. Its head snapped toward the approaching teenager. It abandoned All Might. Instead, it lunged directly toward Izuku. Shigaraki smiled. Good. Kill him. The monster's fist descended. Whoosh. Izuku didn't evade. Instead, he stepped forward. At the final instant, All Might appeared beside the Nomu. Your opponent, he shouted, is me. Boom. A devastating uppercut smashed into the Nomu's jaw. Its head snapped backwards. The creature stumbled. Its chest became completely exposed. The opening is yours. Izuku inhaled deeply. His heartbeat synchronized perfectly. Golden Hamon flowed through every vein. One for all surged throughout his body. This time, neither power resisted the other. They moved together. Perfectly. His right arm glowed with emerald lightning. Golden ripples spiraled around it like streams of sunlight. The surrounding air vibrated. Even the nearby villains hesitated. What is that? The Nomu recovered and swung toward Izuku. Too late. Izuku placed his left palm directly against the creature's chest. Golden Hamon entered first. Overdrive. Rip. The Hamon surged through every muscle. Every blood vessel. Every artificial organ. The Nomu's regeneration immediately faltered. Its stitched body convulsed violently. Steam burst from countless wounds. Hiss. The creature froze for the briefest moment. Its regeneration had stopped. Izuku's right fist followed instantly. One for all. Green lightning exploded around his arm. Crack. Full cowl. 8%. His body strained. But Hamon reinforced every fiber of muscle. Detroit. The fist accelerated. Faster. Faster. Until it disappeared. Smash. Boom. The impact detonated against the Nomu's chest. A brilliant explosion of emerald lightning and golden sunlight erupted across the battlefield. The shockwave blasted outward in every direction. Whoosh. Several villains were thrown from their feet. Broken concrete scattered like rain. A deep crater formed beneath the Nomu. For the first time, the bio-weapon screamed. Raw. Golden Hamon spread through its entire body before the regeneration could restart. The healing process collapsed. Artificial muscles ruptured. Stitched flesh tore apart. Crack. Crack. The Nomu staggered backwards. One arm hung limply. Half its chest had caved inward. It tried to regenerate. Nothing happened. Recovery Girl stared at the monitor. He shut down the regeneration. Nezu slowly smiled. Exactly. His mysterious energy interrupted the biological repair process. Shigaraki's eyes widened. Impossible. The Nomu roared once more and charged wildly. Ignoring its injuries, pure instinct drove it forward. All Might stepped directly into its path. He grinned broadly. Excellent work, young Midoriya. He clenched both fists. If it can't regenerate anymore. His muscles swelled. The familiar pressure spread throughout the USJ. Wind spiraled around him. Whoosh. Then I only need to finish the job. The Nomu threw one final desperate punch. All Might answered with dozens. Boom. 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 Each punch struck faster than the last. The monster's battered body could no longer recover. Its frame bent further with every impact. Metal supports snapped. Artificial muscles burst apart. Crack. 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 United. All Might's voice echoed through the USJ. States. He twisted his hips. Every ounce of remaining strength gathered into a single fist. The wind exploded outward. Smash. Boom. The final blow launched the Nomu high into the air. Its ruined body shot through the massive glass ceiling. Crash. Fragments of reinforced glass rained across the plaza. The bio-weapon disappeared into the sky before crashing far beyond the UA campus. Silence fell. The students stared upward. None of them spoke. They had just witnessed two generations fighting side by side. The ancient power of Hamon. The inherited might of One for All. Together, they had defeated the monster created to destroy the symbol of peace. Across the shattered plaza, Shigaraki slowly lowered the hand covering his face. His smile had vanished completely. For the first time since entering UA, he realized that his carefully prepared plan had already fallen apart. Several weeks passed since the USJ incident. Repairs across the facility continued day and night. The League of Villains had disappeared without a trace. Class 1A, however, had changed. Every student had witnessed real combat. Every student now trained with greater determination. Early one morning, training ground Gamma. The class assembled before Aizawa. He glanced across the students. Today's exercise is combat development. You'll fight under different conditions while adapting to changing situations. The students nodded. Aizawa looked toward Izuku Midoriya. Yes, sir. You'll face Todoroki. The class immediately became interested. Kachan versus Deku would have been exciting. Kaminari muttered. Bakugo clicked his tongue. Tick. I'll crush him later. Todoroki calmly stepped forward. His expression remained unreadable. I've wanted to see your strength. Izuku smiled politely. I'll do my best. Both students entered the training arena. The battlefield resembled an abandoned industrial district. Concrete buildings, steel containers, broken roads, perfect for close quarters combat. Present Mike's voice echoed through the speakers. Begin. Neither of them moved immediately. A gentle breeze swept through the arena. Whoosh. Todoroki studied Izuku carefully. You defeated the Nomu. We defeated it. Izuku corrected. All Might delivered the finishing blow. Todoroki shook his head. You created the opportunity. Silence followed. I won't underestimate you. His left side glowed. Cold mist spread across the battlefield. Crack. A massive wall of ice erupted from the ground. It surged toward Izuku like a frozen tsunami. The spectators gasped. That's huge. Izuku calmly inhaled. Golden Hamon flowed through his legs. Green lightning flickered around his feet. He accelerated. Whoosh. Rather than smashing through the ice, he ran along its rising surface. Every step landed perfectly. His breathing never changed. Todoroki's eyes narrowed. So fast. Another wave of ice burst upward. Crack. Izuku leapt gracefully between towering pillars of frost. Fragments scattered around him. Tap. Tap. Within seconds, he had already closed half the distance. Todoroki raised one hand. More ice exploded outward. Boom. The battlefield transformed into a frozen maze. Izuku observed the terrain. Every pathway narrowed. Every angle became restricted. He smiled slightly. An excellent strategy. Golden Hamon gathered beneath his fingertips. He touched the frozen wall beside him. Overdrive. Rip. Warm energy spread through the solid ice. Fine cracks appeared instantly. Crack. The frozen barrier weakened from within. Izuku delivered a simple palm strike. Boom. The wall shattered into hundreds of harmless fragments. Outside the arena, Iida adjusted his glasses. He used precision instead of overwhelming force. Momo nodded. He attacked the structure's stability. Todoroki remained calm. He continued releasing more ice. The battlefield became increasingly difficult to navigate. Izuku suddenly disappeared from sight. Todoroki looked around carefully. Where? A faint sound came from above. Tap. Todoroki looked upward. Izuku descended from the rooftop. Green lightning danced around his legs. Golden Hamon shimmered around his fists. Todoroki immediately raised another ice wall. Crack. Izuku landed directly against it. He didn't punch. Instead, he placed both palms onto the frozen surface. One slow breath. Sunlight overdrive. Golden ripples spread through the massive glacier. Rip. The warmth traveled rapidly through countless fractures. The entire ice wall trembled. Crack, crack, crack. Then, boom. The enormous structure collapsed into glittering shards. Several students stared in amazement. He melted it. No, Momo answered quietly. He weakened it first. Todoroki stepped backwards. For the first time, his breathing became slightly heavier. Izuku stopped several meters away. He lowered his hands. I believe this is enough. Todoroki frowned. You're stopping. I have no desire to injure my classmates. Todoroki remained silent. You've only used one side of your power. Izuku continued. Your control over ice is extraordinary. But, he looked directly into Todoroki's eyes. You continue rejecting half of yourself. The words struck deeper than any attack. Todoroki's expression changed. You don't know anything. I know what it means to inherit a legacy. Izuku answered calmly. And I know rejecting a gift because of its origin only gives the past more control over your future. The arena became silent. Todoroki clenched his left fist. Cold mist spread around him. My father. You are not your father. Izuku interrupted gently. You decide how your strength is used. For several long moments, neither of them moved. Then, a small orange flame flickered across Todoroki's left side. Whoosh. It was weak, barely visible, but it was there. The spectators collectively froze. Bakugo widened his eyes. Fire. Aizawa watched quietly. He understood immediately. Todoroki looked at the tiny flame. His expression softened. The fire disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. Izuku smiled warmly. One step at a time. Present Mike's voice echoed through the arena. Match over. The gates opened. Both students walked out together. As they passed one another, Todoroki spoke quietly. Thank you. Izuku simply nodded. I'm looking forward to seeing your full strength someday. From the observation platform, Aizawa looked toward All Might. He didn't win by overpowering Todoroki. All Might smiled proudly. He won by reaching him. Far away, inside a dark warehouse, Shigaraki sat before a broken television. The screen displayed footage from the sports festival participants. His eyes stopped on one student. Izuku Midoriya. Scratic, scratic, scratic. A slow smile spread across his face. Next time, I'll kill you first. Several months passed. The UA Sports Festival drew closer. Training intensified. Every student pushed themselves beyond their previous limits. Early one morning, training ground beta, Class 1A gathered before Aizawa. The sports festival is approaching. You'll be facing students from every department. Hero course, general studies, support course, business course. Don't expect easy victories. The students answered together. Yes, sir. After the briefing, everyone began independent training. Explosions echoed from one corner. Boom. Bakugo relentlessly blasted practice targets. Nearby, Todoroki alternated between ice and controlled bursts of fire. Crack. Whoosh. Across another section, Tokiyami sparred with Dark Shadow. Meanwhile, Izuku stood alone beneath the morning sunlight. His eyes remained closed. He inhaled deeply. His heartbeat slowed. Golden Hamon circulated smoothly through his body. Green lightning flickered gently beneath his skin. Unlike before, neither power struggled against the other. They flowed naturally, like two rivers joining into one. All Might approached quietly. You've improved. Izuku opened his eyes. Thanks to your guidance. All Might smiled. Your control has reached nearly 10%. But, he folded his arms. You still hesitate. Izuku looked at him. You always hold back. I don't wish to injure my opponents. I know. All Might nodded. But someday, you'll face villains who won't stop until innocent people are dead. Izuku remained silent. All Might continued. Mercy is a virtue. Hesitation can become a weakness. Izuku lowered his gaze slightly. I understand. That afternoon, Class 1A returned to the classroom. The conversation quickly shifted toward professional heroes. Kirishima grinned. If I could intern anywhere, I'd choose Crimson Riot. Mina laughed. I'd pick MT. Lady. Kaminari raised his hand. What about you, Midoriya? The classroom looked toward him. Izuku smiled politely. There are many admirable heroes. But, I hope to become someone who inspires others through compassion. Bakugo scoffed. Tick. Compassion won't beat villains. Izuku calmly looked at him. Strength alone doesn't create peace. Bakugo folded his arms. And speeches don't win fights. They don't. Izuku agreed immediately. They simply remind us why we fight. Silence filled the classroom. Even Bakugo paused. That wasn't the answer he expected. Todoroki quietly watched the exchange. His thoughts drifted elsewhere. To his father. To his mother. To Izuku's words during training. Later that evening, the dormitory courtyard remained peaceful. The setting sun bathed the campus in orange light. Izuku sat alone beneath a tree. A worn notebook rested on his lap. Inside, there were no hero rankings. No combat statistics. Instead, each page contained observations, acts of courage, acts of kindness, moments where heroes comforted frightened civilians, moments where they placed others before themselves. Jonathan's memories had taught him something simple. Power earned admiration. Character earned trust. Footsteps approached. Tap. Iida stopped beside him. May I join you? Of course. The class representative sat beside him. For a moment, neither spoke. Finally, Iida adjusted his glasses. May I ask you something? You may. When you fought the Nomu, were you afraid? Izuku thought for a moment. Yes. Iida blinked. Really, I was afraid. I simply believed protecting everyone was more important than my fear. Iida remained silent. My brother once told me. Izuku continued. That courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing what matters more. Iida smiled faintly. I'll remember that. Far away, in Hosu City, a dark alley remained silent beneath the moonlight. A frightened criminal stumbled backwards. Please. I'll surrender. A man stood before him. His face remained hidden beneath a torn scarf. Several swords rested across his back. His eyes burned with quiet conviction. You called yourself a hero, he said coldly. Yet you abandoned civilians to save yourself. The criminal collapsed in terror. The man slowly drew a blade. Shing. You stained the meaning of hero. A single movement. Slash. The blade stopped just short of the man's throat. You aren't worth killing. He turned away. His scarf fluttered behind him. Whoosh. News reports later named him the hero killer. Stain. The following morning, the television inside UA's cafeteria displayed breaking news. Another attack believed to be connected to the hero killer has occurred in Hosu City. Students throughout the room fell silent. Bakugo frowned. What kind of lunatic attacks heroes? Aizawa watched the report quietly. His expression remained unreadable. Izuku looked at the screen. Something about the man's eyes, the unwavering conviction behind them, reminded him of another person from Jonathan's memories. Someone who believed completely in his own justice. He quietly closed his notebook. Conviction without compassion, he whispered, can become something terrifying. Outside, the morning sun continued rising above UA, unaware that the path of a young gentleman would soon cross with the man who judged every hero by the sharp edge of his own ideals. The UA Sports Festival had ended. Cheers from thousands of spectators still echoed across Japan. Class 1A had proven its strength before the entire nation. Professional heroes immediately began extending internship offers. Inside the classroom, Midnight stood beside Aizawa with a stack of documents. "Congratulations, everyone," she smiled. "You've all received internship invitations." Excited whispers filled the room. "I got one. This agency looks amazing. I can't believe Endeavor sent me an offer." Midnight began handing out envelopes. One by one. Finally, she stopped beside Izuku. "This one is yours." Izuku accepted it politely. "Thank you." He opened the envelope. Inside was a formal invitation. Gran Torino Hero Agency. Several classmates looked over. Gran Torino. Bakugo frowned. "Who's that?" All Might quietly smiled from the back of the room. "He was once my teacher." The classroom immediately became silent. "The mentor of All Might." Izuku carefully folded the letter. "It will be an honor." Several days later, Hosu City. The city bustled with activity. Professional heroes patrolled every district. Police vehicles frequently crossed the streets. The hero killer remained at large. Security had been strengthened everywhere. Izuku arrived outside Gran Torino's agency. The building appeared surprisingly ordinary. He knocked politely. Tap, tap, no answer. He knocked again. Creak. The door slowly opened. An elderly man stood inside. His short stature contrasted sharply with the immense presence surrounding him. "You're late." Izuku checked his watch. "I arrived exactly 3 minutes early." Gran Torino smiled mischievously. "So you noticed." Without warning, the old hero disappeared. Whoosh. Izuku's eyes sharpened. A kick came from behind. Whoosh. Izuku leaned forward just enough. The attack missed by centimeters. Gran Torino immediately changed direction. He bounced from one wall to another. Boom, boom, boom. His speed became increasingly unpredictable. Izuku calmly inhaled. His breathing remained perfectly steady. Instead of chasing, he listened. The sound of footsteps, changes in air pressure, tiny shifts in movement. Tap. Behind him, Izuku turned. His palm met Gran Torino's foot. Thud. The old hero landed gracefully. "Excellent." Izuku bowed slightly. "I appreciate the lesson." Gran Torino laughed. "Ha ha ha. You remind me of someone." All Might. Number. Gran Torino looked directly into Izuku's eyes. "Someone much older." Training immediately began. Unlike All Might, Gran Torino focused almost entirely on movement. "Stop thinking." Boom. A kick struck Izuku's shoulder. "Move naturally." Whoosh. Another strike narrowly missed. Forcing one for all wastes energy. Izuku adjusted his breathing. Green lightning flowed more smoothly around his legs. Again. Boom. Hours passed. Every lesson focused on efficiency. No unnecessary movement. No wasted strength. No hesitation. By sunset, Izuku's control had noticeably improved. Gran Torino nodded. "Better. I still have much to learn." "Ha." The old hero sat down. "You've inherited tremendous power." He looked toward the setting sun. "But what interests me is your heart." Izuku remained silent. "I've seen many heroes. Strong ones. Brilliant ones. Famous ones." Gran Torino smiled. "Very few remained gentlemen after becoming powerful." Izuku answered quietly. "I believe strength exists to serve others." Gran Torino chuckled. "Good." That evening, emergency alarms suddenly echoed throughout Hosu City. Wee woo. Wee woo. Police officers rushed through the streets. Civilians hurried indoors. News reports appeared across public screens. "Hero killer stain has been sighted." Gran Torino immediately stood. "So it begins." Meanwhile, several streets away, Tenya Iida sprinted through a deserted alley. His breathing had become uneven. "I'll find him, brother." He ignored every police warning, every instruction, every hero. Only revenge remained in his mind. Far above, on a rooftop, A lone figure quietly watched. A torn scarf fluttered behind him. Whoosh. Stain slowly opened his eyes. So, the younger brother has finally arrived. He stepped off the rooftop. Whoosh. Deep within another alley, a pro-hero crashed into a brick wall. Boom. His sword fell from his hand. Clang. Stain calmly walked forward. His blade reflected the pale moonlight. I have no hatred for those who embody true heroism. He pointed the sword toward the fallen hero. But false heroes have no place in this world. Far across the city, Izuku suddenly stopped running. A strange feeling passed through him. Not fear, not uncertainty, instinct. Jonathan's memories warned him. Someone with unwavering conviction, someone whose ideals had become a blade, was very close. Izuku quietly exhaled. His breathing settled into perfect rhythm. Golden Hamon flowed gently beneath his skin. Green lightning flickered around his feet. Then, he changed direction. Whoosh. Toward the heart of Hosu City. Toward the man whose conviction would soon collide with the ideals of a true gentleman. Night covered Hosu City. Police sirens echoed through the streets. Wee woo. Wee woo. Emergency lights reflected against nearby buildings. Civilians hurried indoors while pro-heroes searched every district. The hero killer was still somewhere within the city. Izuku sprinted across the rooftops. Whoosh. His breathing remained perfectly steady. Golden Hamon flowed through every muscle. Green lightning flickered around his legs. Every leap carried him across another building. Gran Torino followed several rooftops behind. The elderly hero smiled. He's already sensing where the battle is. A loud explosion echoed several blocks away. Boom. Then, silence. Izuku immediately changed direction. Meanwhile, deep inside an abandoned alley, Tenya Iida stood before Stain. His engines roared. Whoosh. You. Iida clenched his fists. You crippled my brother. Stain calmly looked at him. I did. I'll defeat you. Iida charged. Whoosh. His kick shot directly toward Stain's chest. Stain stepped aside, effortlessly. Slash. The blade lightly cut across Iida's forearm. Iida immediately jumped backwards. Too slow. Stain said calmly. Iida rushed forward again, this time with both engines firing. Boom. A rapid series of kicks filled the alley. Stain dodged every one. His movements remained smooth, economical, precise. Finally, slash. A second shallow cut appeared across Iida's shoulder. Stain calmly licked the blood from his blade. Instantly, Iida's body froze. What? His legs refused to move. His arms became completely rigid. Stain lowered his sword. My quirk. Bloodcurdle. The moment I taste my target's blood, their body becomes paralyzed. Iida struggled desperately. Nothing moved. Stain slowly walked closer. Tap. Tap. You came seeking revenge. His eyes remained cold. Not to save others. The sword slowly rose. That alone proves you are unworthy. Before the blade descended, whoosh, a figure landed between them. Izuku Midoriya. His posture remained calm. His breathing perfectly steady. He looked at Iida. Are you injured? Midoriya. Izuku nodded reassuringly. You'll be all right. Stain observed him carefully. So, the student from UA. I've heard about you. Izuku slowly faced him. You are the hero killer. I am. Neither moved. The alley became completely silent. Finally, Stain spoke. Tell me, what is a hero? Izuku answered without hesitation. A person who protects others. Stain shook his head. Too simple. Most heroes chase money, fame, recognition. They wear smiles, while their hearts rot. Izuku quietly listened. I have seen corruption. I have seen cowardice. I have seen false heroes abandon innocent people. Stain tightened his grip on his sword. I purge them. Silence followed. Izuku finally spoke. I understand why you became disappointed. Stain's eyes narrowed. But disappointment. does not give anyone the right to become judge, jury and executioner. The alley fell silent again. Stain slowly smiled. Interesting. You didn't deny corruption exists. It does. Izuku answered honestly. There are selfish heroes. There are flawed heroes. There are people who wear the title without understanding its meaning. He took one slow breath. But they should answer for their actions through justice. Not murder. Stain's smile faded. Justice. The law protects weakness. The law forgives hypocrisy. The law created fake heroes. Izuku calmly shook his head. People created those failures. The ideal itself remains worth protecting. Stain's eyes sharpened. You sound like All Might. Izuku smiled faintly. I admire him. But my answer belongs to me. For several long moments, neither man moved. Finally, Stain pointed his sword toward Izuku. Then prove your conviction. Whoosh. He disappeared. The blade flashed toward Izuku's neck. Slash. Izuku tilted his head. The sword passed harmlessly beside him. Without looking, he gently redirected Stain's wrist. Tap. The blade changed direction completely. Stain immediately spun. Another slash came from below. Izuku stepped backwards. His breathing never changed. Stain attacked again. Then again. Then again. Slash. 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 Every strike missed by mere centimeters. Gran Torino watched from the rooftop above. Amazing. He's reading every movement. Stain suddenly changed rhythm. A hidden knife flew from his sleeve. Whoosh. Izuku caught it. Tap. He immediately placed it on the ground. I have no wish to kill you. Stain froze. You caught it. I did. But I also understand your skill. Stain slowly laughed. Hey, perhaps, you truly are different. His sword rose once again. This time, I'll test whether your actions match your words. Golden Hamon quietly illuminated Izuku's hands. Green lightning danced around his feet. The gentlemen and the swordsman stood facing one another beneath the moonlit sky. Neither hated the other. Both believed they were protecting the true meaning of heroism. The battle of ideals was finally about to begin. The moon hung high above Hosu City. A cold breeze drifted through the abandoned alley. Whoosh. Broken streetlights flickered weakly. Long shadows stretched across the cracked pavement. Stain stood motionless. One sword rested in his right hand. Another remained sheathed across his back. His sharp eyes never left Izuku. Izuku faced him calmly. His breathing remained perfectly steady. Golden Hamon flowed through every vein. Faint green lightning danced around his arms. Neither of them made the first move. Several rooftops away, Gran Torino watched silently. His arms were folded. Let's see how far you've grown. Iida remained frozen by bloodcurdle. Unable to move. His eyes desperately followed the confrontation. Midoriya, he whispered. Without warning, Stain disappeared. Whoosh. His blade flashed through the darkness. Slash. Izuku stepped half a pace to the side. The sword sliced through empty air. Stain immediately twisted. A second slash came from below. Izuku caught the flat of the blade between both palms. Tap. Golden Hamon surged into the steel. Rip. The sword vibrated violently. Stain's eyes widened. So your strange power can travel through weapons. Izuku gently pushed the blade aside. I prefer ending battles without unnecessary injury. Stain smiled faintly. That kindness will become your weakness. He suddenly released the sword. Instead, he drew 3 throwing knives. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. They flew toward Izuku from different angles. Izuku's eyes calmly followed each trajectory. One breath, one heartbeat. He shifted slightly. The first knife passed beside his shoulder. He caught the second. Tap. The third. He redirected with 2 fingers. Click. It embedded harmlessly into a nearby wall. Gran Torino chuckled. Outstanding. Stain rushed forward before the knives even landed. His fist struck toward Izuku's ribs. Boom. Izuku blocked with his forearm. The impact echoed through the alley. Stain immediately followed with a spinning kick. Whoosh. Izuku leaned backwards. The kick narrowly missed. Neither fighter wasted movement. Every attack flowed naturally into the next. Watching from the rooftop, Gran Torino smiled. They're reading each other. They're not fighting with emotion. They're fighting with conviction. Stain suddenly accelerated. Faster than before. Whoosh. His blade descended from above. Izuku raised one glowing hand. Golden Hamon gathered around his palm. The sword stopped against his hand. Not because it had been grabbed, but because Hamon forced the blade slightly off course. Stain immediately released another hidden dagger. Whoosh. Izuku tilted his head. The dagger missed completely. Then, he stepped inside Stain's guard. One open palm gently touched the hero killer's chest. Overdrive. Rip. Golden Hamon surged into Stain's body. His muscles suddenly tightened. Steam escaped from beneath his torn clothing. Hiss. Stain stumbled backwards. His heartbeat became irregular for a brief moment. Interesting, he muttered. So this is your power. It isn't destructive. It disrupts. Izuku nodded. It is life energy. I have no desire to destroy life. Stain slowly steadied his breathing. You continue to disappoint me. Izuku tilted his head slightly. You still refuse to strike with killing intent. I do. Even against someone like me. Yes. Stain smiled. Good. The answer surprised everyone. Gran Torino frowned. What? Stain lowered his sword slightly. For years, I've searched for heroes worthy of surviving. Most attack without conviction. Most hesitate out of fear. But you choose mercy despite possessing strength. His eyes sharpened once more. That makes you dangerous. He raised his sword again. So show me the limit of your resolve. A powerful killing intent burst from Stain. Boom. The surrounding air seemed to grow heavier. Even Iida struggled to breathe. Izuku calmly inhaled. The sunlight-style rhythm remained perfect despite the darkness. Golden Hamon illuminated his body. Green lightning surrounded his legs. For the first time, he increased one for all beyond his usual limit. 8%. Then, 10%. Crack. Tiny fractures appeared beneath his feet. The air trembled around him. Gran Torino's eyes widened. 10% already. The pressure continued rising. Golden light intertwined with emerald lightning. Neither power overwhelmed the other. They moved together perfectly. Stain smiled. Excellent. He vanished. Whoosh. Izuku vanished at the same instant. Whoosh. The alley echoed with rapid collisions. Clang. Boom. Tap. Crack. Neither figure remained visible. Only flashes of golden light and green lightning crossed the narrow street. Stone walls split apart from passing shockwaves. Windows shattered. Crack. Stain's blade struck downward. Izuku caught his wrist. Stain twisted. Izuku pivoted with him. Using the hero killer's own momentum, he threw Stain across the alley. Boom. The assassin rolled smoothly across the pavement before landing on one knee. He laughed quietly. Ha, I finally understand. He slowly stood. His sword lowered. You are worthy. Before anyone could react, several police sirens echoed nearby. Wee woo. Wee woo. Bright lights flooded the entrance to the alley. Gran Torino immediately dropped down. The authorities are here. Stain looked toward the approaching officers. Then back at Izuku. Our battle ends tonight. He smiled faintly. But remember this. A true hero must never stop questioning himself. With one powerful leap, whoosh, he disappeared across the rooftops before the police could surround the area. The alley fell silent. The paralysis affecting Iida finally wore off. He collapsed onto one knee, breathing heavily. Midoriya. Izuku helped him stand. Can you walk? Iida lowered his head. I'm sorry. I allowed revenge to blind me. Izuku placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. The important thing is that you found your way back. As police officers rushed into the alley, Gran Torino quietly observed his student. A young man who possessed overwhelming power, yet still chose compassion over hatred. The old hero smiled to himself. The future symbol of peace was growing into someone entirely different from All Might. Someone who carried not only immense strength, but also the unwavering heart of a true gentleman. Several weeks passed. The hero killer, Stain, had been captured shortly after his escape attempt. Although defeated, his final words spread across Japan. Countless people debated the meaning of true heroism. Some rejected his ideals, others questioned the current hero society. The world had begun to change. Inside UA High School, life gradually returned to normal. Class 1A resumed its regular training. Even so, every student had become noticeably stronger. Early one morning, Aizawa stood before the class. "You've all improved. But improvement invites attention." The classroom became quiet. The League of Villains has become increasingly active. They've begun recruiting stronger individuals. They won't remain idle. Bakugo smirked. "Let them come." Aizawa looked directly at him. "Overconfidence gets heroes killed." Bakugo clicked his tongue. Tick. Izuku quietly listened. His notebook rested on his desk. Instead of writing battle strategies, he noted Aizawa's final sentence. "Confidence without caution becomes recklessness." After class, All Might approached Izuku. "Young Midoriya." "Yes. Walk with me." The two quietly crossed the academy grounds. The afternoon breeze rustled the trees. Whoosh. All Might folded his arms. "Your control has reached 10%. Izuku nodded. "I can maintain it much longer now. I've noticed." All Might smiled proudly. "But your greatest strength still isn't one for all." Izuku looked toward him. "It's your judgment. You never rush. You never lose yourself. And somehow, you always make the people around you calmer." Izuku smiled faintly. "I simply try to act according to what I believe." All Might laughed softly. "And that's exactly why I chose you." Later that evening, far from UA, inside an abandoned factory, members of the League of Villains gathered around a large table. Tamura Shigaraki stood silently. The room remained unusually quiet. Kurogiri looked toward him. "Our recent operations have all failed." Shigaraki scratched his neck. "Scratch. I know. The Nomu was destroyed. Stain was captured. Our influence has weakened." One villain nervously asked, "What now?" Shigaraki slowly raised his head. His eyes no longer showed frustration, only determination. "We evolve." A large monitor illuminated. Several photographs appeared. Professional heroes, students, training facilities, agency records. Shigaraki stopped on one image. "Izuku Midoriya. He ruins everything." Another image appeared. "Bakugo Katsuki." Kurogiri tilted his head. "The explosive student." Shigaraki nodded. "He possesses tremendous potential. And he hates losing." A slow smile spread beneath the hand covering his face. "If we break him, we break UA." Elsewhere, deep inside a hidden laboratory, several scientists stood around a massive glass chamber. Inside, a new creature slowly opened its glowing eyes. Unlike the previous Nomu, its body appeared more refined, its muscles more stable, its movements more natural. One scientist adjusted several monitors. "The regeneration has improved." Another nodded. "The physical output has also increased." The creature slowly clenched its fist. Crack. Far away, UA Heights Alliance. Night had fallen. Most students had already gone to sleep. Izuku remained outside, standing beneath the moonlight. His eyes were closed. His breathing was perfectly even. Golden Hamon quietly flowed throughout his body. Gentle ripples illuminated the surrounding grass. Green lightning occasionally flickered around him. Crack. then disappeared. He slowly extended one hand. The two energies merged effortlessly. No resistance. No instability. Only harmony. Gran Torino watched from a nearby rooftop. He's no longer forcing one for all. He's making it part of himself. Below, Izuku finished his training. He looked toward the night sky. I still have a long journey ahead. A familiar voice interrupted him. You certainly do. All Might stepped onto the training field. He smiled warmly. But you're walking the right path. Izuku bowed respectfully. I'll continue improving. You will. The symbol of peace looked toward the stars. His smile gradually faded. Because soon, the greatest battle of my life will arrive. Far across the city, hidden within the League of Villains headquarters, Shigaraki stood before a map of Kamino Ward. His finger slowly rested on one marked location. The symbol of peace, he whispered. I'll destroy your era. The lights inside the hideout dimmed. Around him, the League quietly prepared for the operation that would shake Hero Society to its very foundation. The countdown to the Kamino Ward crisis had begun. Dark clouds gathered above Kamino Ward. The evening sky was unusually quiet. A cold wind swept through the empty streets. Whoosh! Police officers evacuated nearby civilians. Professional heroes surrounded an abandoned warehouse. Every entrance had already been sealed. Inside the command vehicle, several heroes gathered around a large monitor. Recovery Girl, Best Jeanist, Edgeshot, Kamui Woods, Grand Tory Number, and All Might. The monitor displayed a single message. League of Villains confirmed inside. A detective pointed toward the warehouse. They've gathered nearly every remaining member. Our intelligence suggests they're preparing something significant. Gran Torino folded his arms. And Midoriya, he and several students are already nearby. All Might frowned. Too close. Elsewhere, Izuku stood on the rooftop of a nearby building. The setting sun cast a golden glow across the city. Beside him stood Iida, Todoroki, Bakugo, and several pro-heroes. Izuku quietly observed the warehouse. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. His breathing remained calm. Yet, Jonathan's instincts continued warning him. Someone else is here. Suddenly, boom. The warehouse exploded. A massive cloud of smoke erupted into the sky. Concrete shattered. Windows burst apart. Crack. Villains poured into the streets. Dozens. Then dozens more. Attack. The League launched its assault without hesitation. Professional heroes immediately responded. Boom. Whoosh. Crack. Battles erupted across Kamino Ward. Bakugo blasted through several villains. Boom. Boom. Todoroki froze an entire street. Crack. Towering walls of ice blocked escaping criminals. Iida evacuated frightened civilians. His engines roared through the streets. Whoosh. Izuku sprinted directly toward the center of the battlefield. Green lightning wrapped around his legs. Golden Hamon flowed through every muscle. He reached a collapsing building. A family remained trapped beneath falling debris. Without hesitation, he leapt. Whoosh. A massive concrete beam crashed downward. Boom. Izuku caught it with both hands. The impact shook the ground beneath him. Crack. Please, he said calmly. Move toward the exit. The frightened family hurried away. Only after they reached safety did Izuku gently lower the beam. Thud. Nearby heroes watched in admiration. He rescued them before joining the battle. Just like All Might. No, Gran Torino whispered. That's his own way. Meanwhile, Shigaraki calmly walked through the battlefield. He ignored the surrounding chaos. His crimson eyes searched for only one person. Midoriya. Their eyes met across the ruined street. Shigaraki smiled. I've been looking forward to this. Izuku stood quietly. So have I. Neither moved. Shigaraki slowly removed one hand from his face. You've ruined every one of my plans. I simply protected people. Exactly. Shigaraki laughed. You always protect. You always save. You always smile. His fingers slowly touched the broken pavement. Crack. Decay spread rapidly across the street. Buildings crumbled. Streetlights collapsed. The destruction raced toward Izuku. Whoosh. Izuku immediately jumped backwards. Green lightning flashed beneath his feet. The wave of decay continued chasing him. He landed atop a damaged bus. Shigaraki touched the vehicle. Crack. The entire bus began disintegrating. Izuku leapt again. Whoosh. Every landing lasted only an instant before another wave of decay followed. An extremely dangerous quirk, Izuku observed. Shigaraki laughed louder. Running already? I am studying you. The answer made Shigaraki pause. Studying me? A battle should begin with understanding. Shigaraki's smile disappeared. I don't need understanding. I only need destruction. He lunged forward. Whoosh. His hand reached toward Izuku's chest. Izuku stepped inside the attack. One gentle movement redirected Shigaraki's wrist. Tap. The decay struck empty air. Izuku answered with a Hamon-infused palm strike. Overdrive. Rip. Golden Hamon entered Shigaraki's arm. His muscles instantly contracted. Steam escaped from beneath his sleeve. Hiss. Shigaraki jumped backwards. What? My arm. He stared at his trembling fingers. That energy. It disrupts the body's natural rhythm. Izuku explained calmly. It doesn't exist to destroy. It exists to preserve life. Shigaraki slowly clenched his hand again. I hate everything about you. A deep voice suddenly echoed across the battlefield. Tamura. Every hero froze. Shigaraki immediately looked upward. Master. A massive black portal opened high above Kamino Ward. Whoosh. Dark lightning spread across the sky. Crack. The surrounding air became unbearably heavy. Even experienced pro-heroes instinctively tensed. All Might slowly stepped forward. The smile disappeared from his face. So, you've finally come. From the darkness, a tall man slowly emerged. His face was hidden beneath a breathing mask. Countless scars covered his body. His mere presence seemed to suffocate the surrounding air. Gran Torino's eyes widened. Impossible. Recovery Girl whispered quietly. He's alive. The mysterious man looked directly at All Might. A slow smile appeared beneath the mask. My old friend. It's been far too long. Izuku instinctively stepped forward. Golden Hamon flowed through his body. Green lightning quietly surrounded his arms. Every instinct told him the same thing. The man standing before them was unlike anything he had ever faced. And as the last rays of sunlight disappeared beyond the horizon, the greatest enemy in hero society had finally revealed himself. The battlefield of Kamino Ward fell into complete silence. A cold wind swept through the shattered streets. Whoosh. Smoke drifted between ruined buildings. Small fires continued burning across the broken pavement. Hiss. Every hero, every villain, every civilian watching through live broadcasts stared toward the man who had just emerged from the dark portal. All for one. He stood calmly at the center of the battlefield. His breathing mask emitted a quiet mechanical rhythm. Hiss. The scars covering his body bore witness to countless battles. Yet his posture remained perfectly relaxed. Tamura Shigaraki lowered his head. Master. All for one gently placed a hand on his shoulder. You've done well. His attention slowly shifted toward one person. All Might. My old friend. All Might stepped forward. His cape fluttered behind him. Whoosh. I ended your reign once. And yet, All for one chuckled softly. Here I stand. The pressure between them became overwhelming. Even pro-heroes instinctively stepped backwards. Gran Torino narrowed his eyes. Everyone stay back. Recovery Girl nodded immediately. This fight is beyond us. Izuku quietly observed the masked man. His breathing remained calm, but something felt unusual. Very unusual. The presence surrounding All for One wasn't merely overwhelming. It felt heavy. as if countless powers existed within a single body. Jonathan's instincts warned him. Every fiber of his being told him the same thing. This was an enemy unlike any before. All for one suddenly looked toward Izuku. "So, you're the child who keeps ruining Tamura's plans." Izuku answered calmly. "I simply protected those in danger." A fascinating answer. All for one smiled beneath the mask. "And that strange energy. I've never seen anything quite like it." Golden Hamon quietly flowed beneath Izuku's skin. Green lightning flickered around his arms. "It is a power meant to preserve life." All for one laughed. "How ironic. I've spent my entire life taking power from others. And you've brought me something completely new." Without warning, he raised one hand. Boom. The ground exploded beneath Izuku. Chunks of concrete erupted into the air. Izuku immediately leapt backwards. Whoosh! A compressed blast of air tore through the street. Buildings behind him shattered instantly. Crack! So fast, Iida whispered. Izuku landed smoothly. His breathing never changed. All for one disappeared. Whoosh! He reappeared directly before Izuku. His fist shot forward. Boom! Izuku crossed both arms. Green lightning burst around him. Crack! The impact launched him across the street. He crashed through the wall of an abandoned building. Boom! Dust filled the air. Ochako gasped. Midoriya. Before anyone could react, Izuku stepped out of the collapsing building. His uniform had torn slightly. His forearms trembled, but his posture remained upright. Golden Hamon quietly flowed through the bruised muscles. Warmth spread across the injuries. Within seconds, the pain eased. All for one tilted his head. "You healed. A remarkable technique." Izuku calmly inhaled. "It simply allows the body to recover naturally." "Splendid." All for one smiled wider. "I want it." The surrounding heroes froze. Gran Torino's expression hardened. He noticed. All for one slowly raised another hand. Multiple quirks activated simultaneously. Powerful winds spiraled around him. Dark tendrils burst from the ground. Compressed air gathered before his palm. The atmosphere shook violently. Boom! Izuku narrowed his eyes. One attack wouldn't be enough. He needed to interrupt the combination before it fully formed. Green lightning surged around his legs. Golden Hamon illuminated both hands. He accelerated. Whoosh! At the same moment, All Might moved. Boom! The symbol of peace intercepted All for One. Their fists collided. Boom! A tremendous shockwave erupted across Kamino Ward. Windows shattered for blocks. The clouds above split apart. Whoosh! All for One smiled. Still standing. Barely. All Might answered with a grin. "I only need to stand long enough." "For what?" All Might glanced toward Izuku. "For the future." Izuku immediately understood. This battle was no longer his to finish. He turned toward the surrounding heroes. There are still civilians trapped nearby. Iida looked surprised. "You're leaving?" Izuku shook his head. "If we all remain here, more people will die." Without waiting for an answer, he sprinted toward the collapsing district. Whoosh! Bakugo stared after him. "Idiot." Todoroki quietly smiled. "Number. That's exactly who he is." Across Kamino Ward, Izuku reached another collapsing apartment. Families remained trapped inside. Children cried from broken windows. He immediately entered the unstable building. Boom! Concrete continued falling around him. Golden Hamon strengthened his body. Green lightning reinforced every movement. One by one, he carried civilians outside. An elderly couple, a frightened mother, 2 young children. Again, and again, and again. Firefighters quickly received each survivor. One little boy looked up at Izuku. "Are you All Might?" Izuku smiled gently. "Number. I'm simply someone who wants to help." The child smiled brightly. "Then, you're a hero." For a brief moment, Izuku looked back toward the center of Kamino Ward. Massive shockwaves still echoed across the city as All Might and All for One continued their legendary battle. Boom. Boom. He quietly placed a reassuring hand on the child's shoulder. "A hero," he said softly, "is someone who never abandons people in need." The child nodded with shining eyes. As the flames reflected against the evening sky, Gran Torino watched Izuku rescuing civilians instead of chasing glory. A proud smile appeared on the old hero's face. He truly inherited one for all, without ever losing himself. Far across the battlefield, All Might smiled despite the exhaustion consuming his body. The future no longer rested solely upon overwhelming strength. It rested upon a young man who carried two legacies: the indomitable will of One for All, and the unwavering heart of Jonathan Joestar. Beneath the fading sunlight, the symbol of peace looked toward his successor. For the first time in many years, he believed the next era would shine even brighter than his own.